We are the National Pastors Platform of Uganda, and this organization is an umbrella body of Pentecostal pastors and churches from different parts of the nation with their autonomous registration status. I will begin. Our presentation has two segments, and we will try to be brief as well. And the two segments are, one is a petition to you and to the entire designer of the bill to consider something maybe that has not been paid attention to. For procreation, all stakeholders should remain focused to the fundamental, natural, and Christian values, rights, and the security of children before, during marriage, and the security of spouses before, during, and upon the dissolution of such marriage, or upon separation, which have significant implication on the socio-economic and political lifestyle of all citizens, non-citizens, and could bleed serious effects if not given due attention. You will agree with me that the desire to get married or to get a marriage partner is a natural feeling and a need created by God in every normal human being, rich or poor, whether dwelling in urban centers or rural areas. The current marriage law, which only authorizes those places of worship which are able to qualify with the legal requirements, since these are able to access the resources, has left members of our branch churches in the remotest area with no option but to forever practice cohabitation, seeing that they are unable to travel longer distances to come and celebrate their marriages at their urban-based headquarters, which secured the authorization to celebrate marriages. The result is to have 85% of Ugandans living in cohabitation types of marriage because of a bad law. The few marriage cases that are being conducted in rural areas are done at the expense of the integrity of the clergy, who on many occasions are compelled to provide false information while filing the returns, especially when it comes to declaring the venue where the marriage was celebrated from. Since the license they are using restricts them to a specific venue. Unlike our Muslim brothers, who are allowed to celebrate marriages from anywhere, anytime, without committing any offense, since the law of the land should not be discriminative or appear to be favoring a specific group of people above other, we are here to petition for that. The petition. It is our humble petition that the approach and the position of the law be amended, that at all times the authorization / license to celebrate marriages this time be given to the registered church headquarters, not the gazetted venue, which is not the gazetted venue, which in the process will subsequently appoint their trained, trusted clergy, branch church leaders across the nation to solemnize marriages from wherever they are. It will be incumbent on these clergy, branch church leaders to report to their respective headquarters about the conducted marriages and the returns, so that the headquarter church will also make effort to file the returns of the celebrated marriages to the Registrar General of Marriages. We believe that this is very possible, just like it is possible with banks, where the main branch is authorized by Bank of Uganda to run its banking operations, which in the due course goes ahead and opens up various branches can still submit or file the names of their appointed marriage celebrants across the nation and who are operating under the same marriage license that was given to the headquarter church with the Registrar General of Marriages to enable them to go directly ahead and register a marriage every time they conduct one. Chair, I hope you know that a lawyer does not need to be in his chambers to make you sign a legally binding agreement. They can do it from anywhere and it becomes binding. Also, a policeman does not need to first be at a police station in order to arrest you. They can arrest you from anywhere as long as they have a warrant of arrest. Would also like to bring it to your attention, sir, that whatever we are suggesting here is already happening in other nations where they do not restrict marriage celebration to a specific venue, but to the church minister or the church minister or the entire church ministry. For example, in Zimbabwe, where the presenter of this document was wedded, authorization is given to the church minister and it is not attached or conditioned to the church venue, and he can conduct a wedding in a stadium, a hotel room, on a ship, or at a Kwanjula introduction. That is a traditional function, as long as the marriage is taking place between two consenting adults. The above proposed approach will make it much easier for the majority of the financially disadvantaged Ugandans living in the rural areas who do not have the budgets to enable them to come to their Kampala-based headquarters to also get a chance to have a legal and a holy marriage. Recommendations: we strongly commend Parliament key marriage issues through the bill. However, we strongly urge you strengthening monogamous marriage protection by limiting conversion to polygamy. 2, maintaining the sanctity of formal marriage by refining the provisions of cohabitation. 3, mandating marriage counseling before divorce, except in cases of abuse. Thank you. Signed by Dr. Bishop David Kiganda, Presiding Apostle, National Pastors Platform of Uganda. Then our next segment of the presentation, we looked in the proposed bill, and 5B, the position right now is it says that A Christian marriage shall be conducted between one Christian man and one Christian woman for life, to the exclusion of others. So we are proposing that amendment should be done, and it should say a Christian marriage shall be contracted between persons of the opposite sex with mutual consent, to be governed under the rights and customs of Christian marriage. Reason? Because not all people who contract Christian marriage are both Christians. One of the party, also some are not even Christians or have no faith where they belong, but may wish to contract a Christian marriage. Again, 5b, a Christian marriage shall, it says right now that a Christian marriage shall be solemnized by a licensed registrar of marriages in a place of worship, or in a place of worship, or in a place of a place approved by the Registrar General. Needs to gazette faith organization as approved entities to ceremonize marriages along with individuals, registrars, and allow the mother organization to train its own registrars to ceremonize marriages in up-country areas by making the jurisdiction of the organization unlimited. Reason? Need to specify whether the pastor of a place of worship is the registrar in these circumstances. This will help those in remote areas who are branches of these gazetted organizations to ceremonize marriages, as it will reduce financial hardships. It also helps to reduce the rising cohabitation relationships as costs are manageable. Next page. We also made an observation on 61 bracket 1. It says, the court shall, upon application by either a man or a woman, presume a marriage under this act for purposes of determination of the maintenance of children and property rights accruing to the parties from a relationship. And we are saying, we suggest that staying with a person for a period of at least 5 years should be automatically be qualified as marriage, provided none of the party is committed in any legal marriage. The law instead focus on protecting not only the children in such relationships, but also focus on children born to spouses before marriage, as they too have rights. Have rights that needs protection. The property rights of persons in such relationships are not safeguarded, especially in respect of non-monetary contribution of parties to such relationship where there is acquisition of property. Reason? Presumption of marriage will weaken the marriage institution. Some people just don't wish to marry, and they have ruined many lives by cohabitation. So we also made an observation on 71 bracket B in the proposed bill. And here is what we found there. A petition for dissolution of marriage may be made to court by both parties upon mutual consent. The clause should be removed. Why? Mutual consent amounts to connivance and collusion. It's actually abused in many countries. We also made an observation in 74. What does it say? 74. A petition for dissolution of marriage brought by either party to a marriage shall be on the sole ground that the marriage has irretrievably broken down. What are we suggesting? We suggest that clear grounds for divorce petition be properly laid out in details as what constitutes irretrievable breakdown of marriage is not explained. Reason? There are no specific grounds for divorce petition in the proposed bill. 80 in the bill. In a matrimonial proceedings, a husband or wife of a party to the suit shall be competent and compared witness. Comparable witness. Shall be a competent and comparable witness. You're seeing a danger there. In matrimony proceedings, a husband or wife of a party to the suit shall be competent but not comparable witness. Reason being, it contradicts with the Evidence Act. Husband and wife are presumed to be one before the law. Thus comparing one to testify against the other is a big threat to the marriage institution. 89, we also made an observation in 89 of the bill, bracket 1. A person who holds out as a husband or wife under this act commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 500 currency points or imprisonment not exceeding 3 years. Uganda are living in such relationships, and the majority of population are conceived or were conceived through such relationships, including our legislators and the cabinet ministers. My apologies. Let me stop there. Holding out under this part means living together as husband and wife, acquiring or owning property jointly, bearing children together, and taking on the man's surname by the woman. Okay? What are we saying? A man and woman living together for at least 5 years should be recognized as husband and wife, regardless of whether they are formally married, as long as none of them is committed to another earlier legal marriage. Okay, reason? Although it is a safeguard to the institution of marriage, several marriages legally recognized under our laws started as cohabitation relationship, and they are currently happier and more peaceful than those which started off as legal marriages from the onset. This is not to reduce the value of legal marriages, but to encourage many unmarried people in such relations to entertain the idea of legal marriage, as well as giving them a sense of security to both the individual spouse, children of the marriage, and the third parties to such relationships. We also made an observation on section 90, bracket 1, which says that a person who breaches a promise to marry is on conviction liable to pay damages for the breach. The clause is ambiguous. There is a need to specify exceptions to the breach of promise to marry. Presume that the promise to marry has been breached. We also made an observation at 104, bracket 2. Subject to subsection 1, the minister may, with the approval of cabinet, grant recognition to the solemnization of marriage and institutions of matrimonial causes, including petitions for separation or dissolution of marriage by any religious denomination other than those provided for in this act. What are we saying? The authority should be given to organizations, not to a minister, to organizations authorized to ceremonize marriages or handle dissolution causes, not the minister as an individual. Why? It helps to avoid bias and promotes transparency. Okay, I'm reading from Matthew, which is in the Bible, Matthew chapter 19, and the verse is going to be 7. Okay, Matthew chapter 19, please write. Okay, Matthew 19. All right. Verse 7. Verse 7. They say unto him, okay, let me read verse 3. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him and saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, have you not read that he which made them at the beginning, who is God in this case, made them male and female? And he said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and the two shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more two, no more twine, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Verse 7. They said unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it wasn't not so. Verse 9, and I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, commits adultery, and whosoever marries her which is put away does commit adultery. So, whoever responded was a little bit less informed in the Bible. Thank you.